What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. We have our quick and dirty top 30 running backs here for Week 10 fantasy football, trying to get those last-minute lineup changes ready to go so you can dominate your fantasy football matchups here this week. And we're kicking it off right away at number 30. And that's where we're going to find Kalen Ballage, Los Angeles Chargers. Why is it Week 10 of fantasy football in the year 2020? And I'm talking about Kalen Ballage. Well, has to do with injuries, right? Still no Austin Eckler. Justin Jackson going to be out. Does Tremaine Pope come back to this backfield? We saw Kalen Ballage fill in and actually produce in a game last week. How does the split happen this week with Joshua Kelly and Tremaine Pope if he's good to go? Remains to be seen. Got Kalen Ballage as of right now, number 30. Number 29, Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts. He's peeking out from the pit of misery right now because that costly fumble last week could lead to more touches for Jordan Wilkins. Jordan Wilkins, who's currently still out touching Jonathan Taylor over the past 2 weeks. It's just a lot of risk in this backfield. It's a huge committee and hard to trust anybody as a clear-cut number one. Got Jonathan Taylor at 29. 28, Zack Moss, Buffalo Bills, as of right now, seems to have the higher touchdown upside and more work inside the red zone for the Buffalo Bills in a matchup this week going up against the Arizona Cardinals, where I expect a whole lot of offense and plenty of touchdowns to go around. Got Zack Moss, 28. 27 is J.D. McKissick, Washington football team, going up against the Detroit Lions, and this dude is a PPR machine with Alex Smith under center. I do not expect Alex Smith to continue to drop back and hang in the pocket, wait for deep routes down the field to develop. No, they're going to continue the quick passing game there to make him more comfortable in the pocket, and that just means more volume heading the way of J.D. McKissick. Got him at 27. 26, J.K. Dobbins, Baltimore Ravens. Still unclear how this backfield is really going to shake out down the stretch, but in a matchup this week going up against the New England Patriots, a Patriots defense which has been vulnerable on the ground. How much is, Gus Edwards involved? Do we see Mark Ingram at any point? A lot of questions surrounding this backfield right now, but as of right now, J.K. Dobbins has the higher ceiling. Got him at 26. 25 is Ronald Jones, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the second half of this committee, and they're going up against the Carolina Panthers this week. A great matchup for Tampa Bay, but Ronald Jones has seemed to all but lost the majority of the passing work to Leonard Fournette, which really makes his floor a little bit lower and a little bit riskier. As of right now, got Ronald Jones dropped down a few spots lower than Leonard Fournette, right here, 25. 24, Jordan Wilkins, Indianapolis Colts. We just talked about Jonathan Taylor. Don't love this backfield. None of these guys here are absolute smash starts on a weekly basis. They all eat into each other's ceiling, but as of right now, behind that offensive line, Jordan Wilkins is getting the majority of the touches. Got him right here at 24. 23 is Jerick McKinnon, San Francisco 49ers, going up against the New Orleans Saints, a Saints offense which was firing on all cylinders last week with the return of Michael Thomas. Not a whole lot of options in this offense for Nick Mullins. You got Brandon Ayuk, you got Jerick McKinnon, maybe some Richie James. Outside of that, not a whole lot of options. Expect Jerick McKinnon to continue to be involved in the passing game. Got him right here at 23. 22 is Darrell Henderson, Los Angeles Rams, a matchup going up against the Seahawks. Not a horrible matchup whatsoever, but Darrell Henderson is not 100% healthy, still dealing with that quad injury. Does it limit him? Do they continue to have a more even split in this backfield with Malcolm Brown? Do we see Cam Akers? A lot of questions here in Los Angeles. Kind of hard to trust it in Week 10, especially coming off of the bye until we really see how they handle it here down the stretch. So for right now, with that injury designation, got Darrell Henderson sitting at 22. 21 is David Johnson, Houston Texans, going up against the Cleveland Browns. A difficult matchup to run against Cleveland anyway. Plus, David Johnson still unsure whether or not he 100% plays this weekend. If he does, he may bump up a spot or two. Not going to climb up the rankings too much, though, in a matchup going up against Cleveland where I expect Deshaun Watson to have his way through the air and not need to run a whole lot. So right now, got David Johnson at 21. Number 20, Joe Mixon, Cincinnati Bengals, going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but another one of these guys that we're just unsure of heading into the weekend. All signs were pointing to Joe Mixon returning for sure this weekend. Now, still limited in practice, not a for sure thing, something we need to pay attention to. Plus, it's a difficult matchup. As of right now, got Joe Mixon number 20. If he's a full go by the weekend, he'll creep up to about 15 or 16 here in the rankings. Number 19, Melvin Gordon, Denver Broncos, going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. A great matchup for the backfield here in Denver. However, Phillip Lindsay is the guy who I expect to be more productive on the ground here this week. Melvin Gordon been used a little bit more in the passing game, but I don't expect them to be trailing as much in this game, which means we may not see that passing volume going Melvin's way. Still like Phillip Lindsay a lot more. And Melvin Gordon will be sitting right here at 19. 18, David Montgomery, Chicago Bears. David Montgomery continues to kind of disappoint, right? With a Monday Night Football game going up against the Minnesota Vikings isn't a bad matchup. Another one of those injury designations, though. Is he cleared from concussion protocol? All signs pointing to him being good to go, but it's something to monitor. If you have a better option to use over the weekend, I suggest using it just to be safe. The last thing you want is to wait until Monday, have him be ruled out, and you have no other options to fill in his place. For right now, got him at 18. 17, Leonard Fournette, the other half of the backfield for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going up against the Carolina Panthers. I mentioned this earlier. Leonard Fournette seems to get the lion's share of the work in the passing game. That's going to continue to give him that safer floor in this offense. It's an offense which we don't see a whole lot of scoring from the running back position. Heck, last week we didn't see a whole lot of scoring from anybody. But Leonard Fournette is still the guy to get the first crack at opportunities in this offense. Rojo just continues to find ways into the doghouse. So I got Leonard Fournette right here at 17. 16 is DeAndre Swift, a matchup going up against the Washington football team, and Swift continues to lead this backfield. I wish they would continue to give him more and more volume. We still have not seen the ceiling for this kid yet, but he's involved in the passing game, plus he's getting some goal line work, which we definitely like to see. Makes him a safer option. Got him as number 16 here this week. Number 15 is his opponent in that game, Antonio Gibson, Washington football team going up against the Detroit Lions. A great matchup, and what we really need for Antonio Gibson is more volume, right? If you could get this kid close to 18 touches a week, he's winning you fantasy matchups. Hanging out around these single-digit numbers is just not enough, and that's the reason he's going to remain in this mid-running back 2 range. Got him at 15. Number 14 is Chase Edmonds, Arizona Cardinals, going up against the Buffalo Bills. That matchup, which could be very high scoring and involve a lot of passing through the air. That's going to benefit Chase Edmonds a little bit more, especially because we don't know the status of Kenyon Drake. There's a chance that Kenyon Drake comes back and plays this week. If that happens, that will limit the ceiling of Chase Edmonds. However, still gives him that safer floor in PPR style scoring. That's the reason why I got Chase Edmonds right here at number 14. 13, Mike Davis, Carolina Panthers, a difficult matchup going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No Christian McCaffrey, and the reason Mike Davis is lower is because as of late we've seen a lot more Curtis Samuel in this offense and a lot less passing volume going the way of Mike Davis. He was racking up receptions earlier in the year. Without those, his ceiling is super low, and so is his floor. Got Mike Davis dropped down to 13. Number 12, Philip Lindsay, Denver Broncos. Yes, I understand. This is super, super bold. I just love the matchup this week for Philip Lindsay. He's really looked like the better running back in this backfield. I mentioned earlier that this game may be closer. They may not be overly reliant on having to throw the ball as much, which means Melvin Gordon may not see the field as much. Philip Lindsay has the opportunity to go out there and put up a huge game this week, and I got him right here at number 12. Number 11, Kareem Hunt, Cleveland Browns, a matchup this week going up against the Houston Texans. A juicy matchup going up against the Houston Texans. Plus, Kareem Hunt can slide back into his role that we saw him have the first few weeks of the season when Nick Chubb was healthy. That's when Kareem Hunt was a lot more efficient and actually scoring more fantasy points. He did not do anything huge with Nick Chubb out. With the return of Nick Chubb likely, Kareem Hunt slides back into the role we all love him in, and he becomes a top 12 option. Got him right here, number 11. Number 10, more injury designations. This time, Chris Carson, Seattle Seahawks, going up against the Los Angeles Rams. If Chris Carson is healthy and in a lineup, he is in your starting lineup, and he's almost a locked-in running back 1. The way they've utilized him in 2020 when healthy, it's just super efficient. We're not dependent on 25 carries a game like maybe we have been in years past. Chris Carson's efficiency, if he's healthy, is something we definitely want, something to monitor. Got him right here, number 10. Number 9 is another injury designation. What about Miles Sanders, Philadelphia Eagles, going up against the New York Giants? Not a bad matchup for Miles Sanders, and this offense desperately needs his playmaking ability back. We saw it prior to the injury, right? This guy is able to break off big plays. He was actually averaging 0.1 yards per carry more than Dalvin Cook. That's how explosive this guy can be. We just need him healthy. If he comes back this week good, I got him at number 9. Number 8, Josh Jacobs, Las Vegas Raiders, going up against the Denver Broncos. This one's all about volume, right? Well, he lost a little bit of it last week to Devontae Booker, but don't forget, earlier in the week, Jacobs was dealing with an illness and a knee injury that really limited him somewhat that week during practice, and that was probably the reason for the increased workload for Devontae Booker. Fire up Josh Jacobs once again in a great matchup. Got him at number 8. Number 7, James Conner, Pittsburgh Steelers, going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of people disappointed with the performance as of late of James Conner, but this one is strictly tied to the health of Ben Roethlisberger. If Ben is healthy, we continue to start James Conner and just kind of take the hills and valleys, right? Because they're going to happen at certain times. He's been an overall super safe option for majority of the year. If Ben sits, I worry about the production of James Conner. However, Ben's not ruled out yet. That's why I got James Conner sitting right here, number 7. Number 6, another injury designation, but this one's from my boy, Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns. It sounds like all signs are pointing to him returning this week into a great matchup going up against the Houston Texans run defense, which is basically non-existent. This team in Cleveland revolves around the running game, and they were a much better team when they had both Hunt and Chubb in the lineup. They can coexist and they can dominate. Got Nick Chubb right here at number 6. Number 5 is James Robinson, Jacksonville Jaguars, in a great matchup going up against the Green Bay Packers. Really, the only reason I don't have him higher than number 5 is it wouldn't surprise me if Aaron Rodgers goes out there, puts on a suck-it show, gets an early lead, and Jacksonville just can't rely on the run as much. That's okay a little bit, and that's why James Robinson's still at 5, because he's involved in the passing game. Also, the touchdown upside always there, and for right now, I've got James Robinson, number 5. Number 4 is going to be Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans, in a difficult matchup going up against the Indianapolis Colts. People disappointed with the production of Henry last week, and now they get this difficult matchup this week, but you can't afford to sit him. The guy can go out there and have a huge game against anybody on any given Sunday. Plus, the volume is going to be there. He's going to see over 20-plus touches and get every goal line opportunity. Sign me up once again for Derrick Henry. Got him at number 4. Number 3, Alvin Kamara going up against the San Francisco 49ers, a difficult matchup, and the return of Michael Thomas will take away a few of those targets that maybe have gone towards Alvin Kamara earlier in the season. Does that mean this guy loses a huge part of his ceiling? No, not really. He's a huge part of this offense and will continue to be. That's why I got him sitting right here at number 3. Number 2, Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings in a matchup this week, Monday Night Football, against the Chicago Bears. A very, very good Bears defense, and I mentioned this in my start-sit video. Even if you contain Dalvin Cook, he's still liable to go out there and get 100 yards total and a touchdown at least. I mean, the guy's ceiling is out of this world, and he's absolutely killing it this year. He's basically matchup-proof, and you can't afford to drop him down much farther than I have him right here at number 2. Which means number 1 is going to be Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers. Also talked about this in my start-sit video. A great matchup for Aaron Jones going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But now, after this matchup, things are going to get a little bit rough for Aaron Jones. We need a huge game this week, and we expect him to use a heavy dose of Aaron Jones on the ground. If Aaron Rodgers can go out there and get that early lead, we'll see even more Aaron Jones in the second half. He's my number 1 running back here in Week 10. There's a few notable players, too, because I know you guys have questions about more guys here that are not in the rankings. First one, Duke Johnson. He's tied to David Johnson, right? If David Johnson cannot go, Duke will move up the rankings. Is he going to become one of these guys that I'm excited to start, though? No, not really. Wasn't overly efficient on the ground, was saved by a touchdown last week. Difficult matchup going up against Cleveland. He may be fringe top 25 or so, but not somebody who I'm overly excited about. Gio Bernard tied to Joe Mixon. If Joe Mixon cannot go, insert Gio Bernard. More as a running back 3 flex option this week going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. A difficult matchup, but his involvement in the passing game, if you're in a PPR league, could give you a decent floor. Got Gus Edwards here, Baltimore Ravens, kind of dependent on Mark Ingram. If Ingram doesn't play, you can kind of pencil Edwards in for around 15 carries or so, somewhere in that 6 to 8 fantasy points. A little bit more touchdown dependent if you're in a larger league, or maybe you're killed with injuries or bye weeks. He's not a bad flex option, just not somebody who you can really count on a weekly basis as of right now in a matchup going up against New England. Got Tremaine Pope, Los Angeles Chargers, going up against the Dolphins. We know there's no Justin Jackson. Do they bring back up Kalen Ballage, or do they roll with Josh Kelly and Tremaine Pope? That's something we really need to pay attention to, because if that's the case, Pope gets a lot more value, especially as a flex play here this week. If they bring back up Ballage, and they got Ballage and Kelly and Pope, then all of a sudden you're looking at one of those 14-team leagues. If you're looking for a flex play there, he just loses some value having to split touches 3 ways. Kenyon Drake, Arizona Cardinals, mentioned him when we talked about Chase Edmonds. I mean, there's a chance he's cleared to play this week? And if that's the case, how much does he really play, right? I mean, is he there just for, emergency services? Does he just go in there every once in a while to give Chase Edmonds a breather? There's a chance that that's possible if he does play this weekend. I would love to have him out there on the field and see him get those 15 touches a game before I trust throwing him back into my rankings and my lineups here in Week 10. Also, Devin Singletary, Buffalo Bills. I expect that matchup with Arizona to be very high scoring. Not one where they're going back and forth on the ground a lot more through the air. As of right now, Zack Moss kind of seems to have the eye of Josh Allen, and this Buffalo offense inside the red zone gives him a little bit higher of a touchdown opportunity, touchdown upside. Devin Singletary, reverts back to that big play dependency, which we haven't really seen as of right yet. So that's why Devin Singletary isn't pictured here inside the top 30 either. All right, there's my quick and dirty top 30 running backs here for Week 10 fantasy football. And like I said, if you're looking for more detailed information, that can be found on the Start Sit video that was done here earlier in the week. So if you're looking for more of the meat and taters, head over there to that video after this one is done. We greatly appreciate the support. Finally received our YouTube plaque in the mail for crossing the 100,000 subscribers, and I am more than grateful and appreciative to you, Headliner Nation, out there for all the support here over the past few years. But we look forward to continue to interacting with you and talking to you on the live stream Saturday evening. Make sure you check that out. But until then, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.